Get ready to create the perfect wildlife ecosystem in the Pacific Northwest. This is our review of Cascadia.
Cascadia is an abstract puzzle tile laying game where your goal is to create the ecosystem that'll earn you the most points.
Cascadia is a tile laying game without any border restrictions. You can play your tiles any way you want.
The game adds a new mechanic with the animals, which can only be played on the matching habitat tiles.
At the start of the game, 4 habitat tiles and 4 animal tiles are paired together in order to create the drafting pool.
Then 5 wildlife scoring cards are chosen, 1 of each animal.
The wildlife scoring cards will show all players the patterns or rules that must be followed in order to earn points at the end of the game.
On each player's turn, they will draft 1 habitat tile and then the paired animal tile.
The habitat tile must be placed adjacent to another habitat tile, and the animal tile must be placed on the habitat with a matching picture.
The draft pool is reset and the next player takes their turn.
Players continue drafting and playing tiles until there are no more habitat tiles left.
Once the game ends, players add up their points and the player with the most points wins.
Cascadia is by AEG and Flatout Games, which also did Calico, which I really like, so I was excited to get this game to the table.
When we first unboxed the game and even started seeing these tiles, they remind me a lot of Gods Love Dinosaurs. If you like that game, it's going to see some similarities, and I think you're going to love this game too.
Yeah, the game for the most part are the habitat tiles, which have pictures of habitat in the background, and then circles which have the animal pictures. And then you have the animal tiles or tokens, and they are played on top of the habitat tile. And you can only play the animal on a habitat that matches. So you have the elk here, you have the elk here, so you can play this animal on this tile. Just like in Gods Love Dinosaurs, where you have to play the right animal on the right tile.
The artwork on the cards are pretty nice. You know, you got a couple different shots here of a bear, some fishes, eagles, so very nice artwork with the animals, really displaying them in pretty good detail.
And we can't forget that there's a bag that holds the tiles, which they must love their bags because there's also one in Calico. So the standard issue bag is here for pieces. The mechanics of this game play very similar to Calico, where you're placing tiles to earn points based on scorecards. This one has actual scorecards where you're trying to match the patterns versus the cat cards where you can try to match them and then place the cats on your board. This is also different because there's no border around you. You're not limited to the size of your quilt like in Calico. This one you're kind of free range. As long as your tiles are touching another tile, you can pretty much place them anywhere on your player area that you would like, which can lead to some spreading across of the table of the design depending on how you're trying to do it.
And with everyone each building their own little habitat or ecosystem, you can't really affect the other players or they can't affect you because you're going after a certain pattern or certain you're trying to do. The only way they can is if they draft something you wanted or draft an animal that you really needed.
On that note, I feel this game is a lot better than Calico in terms of stealing someone's piece. Because in Calico, once a piece was stolen, I never felt like I was able to get that piece again. Whereas this one, there's always different habitats that you can play. You can always play them in different areas to make the shape that you want. It's not as restrictive as Calico is.
Yeah, it lets you kind of play around with your creativity so that you're not cornered into like, well, what am I going to do now?
This game is also very family friendly. The box says 10 and up, and I think that's about right. I think that families would really enjoy this because you can get it out on the table, everyone can play. There's not a whole lot of take that, so no one can really get upset for you messing up the other player's ecosystem or anything like that. And each player can kind of learn to strategize, kind of learn some basics of board game mechanics, and really kind of learn to build your way up to more difficult games after this.
So when it comes to the wildlife scoring cards, there is a little note on the bottom on how you score this if maybe the picture doesn't make sense. But when you go in the instructions book, those give you a little bit more details too. So everything is pretty self-explanatory, or you can find the answer easily. So overall, I'm going to give Cascadia an 8. I love this game. I loved Gods Love Dinosaurs. Calico was good too. You know, this is more nature themed rather than the other one being dinosaurs or quilts. But different theming, laying down the tiles, seeing patterns and trying to make the different puzzles and stuff. I I enjoyed it. It was really fun.
Overall, I'm going to give the game a 9. I really enjoyed the mechanics of this puzzle game. I like it a little bit more than Calico. I still like Calico, but I like the openness of this game. You can go any direction. You can kind of pivot when someone messes up your strategy. You can still wait for that tile to come or go over here, whereas in Calico is a little bit more limiting. You might say that this is easier, but I think that it just offers you more possibilities, and I like the creativity that you can play while you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I get the most amount of points?
And Teresa gives it a 10.
And Juliana gives it a 7.5. And that was our review of Cascadia.
What'd you think? What kind of animals would you put in your habitat? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
And I'm Kenny.